Matthew Boling, one of the great high school talents in track and field, and one of the more successful collegiate sprinters in the NCAA, as he went on to break 10 seconds in the 100 meters, he broke 20 seconds in the 200, and he also won 2 indoor titles over the 200-meter distance. For the past couple of years, you have probably seen at least one Matthew Boling video, and you've likely seen a few on this channel because, well, we used to cover him a decent amount. But you also might have noticed that we haven't covered any of Boling's performances in quite a long time. In fact, the last time we analyzed one of his races in great detail was more than 8 months ago, when he ran an indoor meeting in the 300 meters against Stephen Gardner from the Bahamas. Now, for this competition, which took place in South Carolina during the indoor season, Gardner finished first in this race over Matthew Boling with a time of 31.78 to Boling's time of 32.56. This was quite the interesting showdown because Boling and Gardner clashing like this was already quite interesting, but we also had Matthew Hudson Smith, who finished in 3rd place, clearly not having the greatest day, but for Boling this was actually a pretty solid showing that ranked him number 5 in the world over this distance at this point in his season. What drew many towards Boling Boling's early performances were his dramatic times, his versatility on the track, and also his ability to jump more than 8 meters in the long jump. To this day, Boling is still one of only 2 athletes to ever go sub-10 in the 100, sub-20 in the 200, and also surpass 8 meters in the long jump. And the only other athlete to do this was Carl Lewis, who is largely regarded as one of the greatest athletes in track and field history. Boling's exploits throughout his early years were some of the greatest marks that we had ever seen for a teenage athlete. But the question that many have is what exactly has been happening with Matthew Boling for the past couple of seasons, and can we expect him to make any world championship or Olympic team in the future? Well, the answer might surprise you, because after doing a little digging, Boling is still running quite fast, and he also had one specific performance this year, which was honestly tremendously underrated. The main reason Boling has not been making as much noise recently is because he has completely changed his focus in 2024. In previous years, he ran many solid times in the 100 and the 200, and these 2 racing distances were his primary focus points. But for 2024, he has shifted his focus to the 400-meter distance. Here are Matthew Boling's yearly progressions in the 100, 200, and the 400, and as you can see, he hit his best times in the 1 and 2 back in 2022, where he ran times of 9.98 and 19.92. However, for the 400, he's running faster than he ever has for 2024. In fact, for this season alone, he broke 45 seconds 3 total times for the 1-lap distance. And for his personal record race, he achieved this mark at the very end of the season, competing against a very familiar name, Quincy Wilson. At the 2024 Holloway Pro Classic, which took place in Gainesville, Florida, Quincy Wilson and Bryce Deadman had a battle all the way to the tape, and somehow, the 16-year-old Wilson managed to win this race in 44.20. And if you want to take a deeper look at this incredible world youth record, I'll leave a link down below so you can check this race out in more detail. But finishing very close in second was Bryce Deadman in 44.22, and finishing in 3rd place with a time of 44.84 was Matthew Boling. This time currently ranks Boling as the 36th fastest athlete in the world this season, which really shows the incredible depth that is coming from around the world over this racing distance. And while this personal record race from Boling still showcases a lot of room for improvement, there was actually one moment this season, a single opportunity, that Boling completely went after that is undeniably a bold and impressive race in 2024. At this year's Olympic trials, which took place in Eugene, Oregon, Boling was looking smooth and strong through each and every round. For his opening heat, he finished 2nd in 44.94. For his semifinals race, he finished in 3rd at 44.91. And then came the finals, a race where only the world's best have any chance at making this team. In fact, for this one final alone, we had a previous world champion and the eventual Olympic champion competing in this event, plus various other athletes who have personal records well under 44.5. So to put it simply, you had to be on your absolute A-game in order to make this team. After a fair start, this final got off with a bang, and through the opening 100 meters, Boling was actually in first with a time of 10.68 seconds. This was fast, and it might have actually been a little bit too quick, but we'll get back to that in just a moment, because through the 200-meter mark, Boling was in second with a time of 20.92. This was still flying, and it was now only trailing behind Michael Norman, who split through 220.90. Now, for his third 100 split, Boling was still running very strong, and he was actually still in second, as he hit a time of 32.32, which is actually a new personal record for Boling. But then came the final 100, and unfortunately, Boling simply could not hold his tempo here, because for this final 100, he went from second all the way down to 8th, and he only ran a time of 45.15 seconds for this Olympic trials final. Through 300 meters, Boling was seriously in contention for a spot on this Olympic team, but unfortunately his final 100 was the second slowest on the day, as he only achieved a 100 split of 12.83 seconds, more than a second slower than the winner Quincy Hall, and also more than a second slower than Chris Bailey and also Vernon Norwood. When it comes to 400-meter running, you simply have to have a strong close in order to find success on the biggest stages. And for this race, it unfortunately was not there for Matthew Boling.